I think that when I start telling my story, it's super important to know that I was born without really a desire to live. Like a career day at school in elementary, everybody else, they knew exactly what they wanted to be. Oh, I want to be a vet. Oh, I want to be the president of the United States, or I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor. And I remember having a lot of envy for them, and I remember thinking, like, I wish I wanted to do something. Like, if you asked me what I wanted to be, I'd just say photographer, because that's what my mom did, and that seemed to be the answer that people were looking for. I got in trouble in school a lot for my grades. I didn't do homework. I never took school seriously because I had it in my head that I was never going to grow up, or I was never going to go to high school. I was never going to go to college, so why do my homework? Why do something that I don't want to do? It's not that I was suicidal growing up, it's just I had no will to live either. When I was younger, I started to act up, and I started to get attention from places that I shouldn't have as a teenager. I loved my family, and I knew that I was going behind their back. I knew that if they found out the things that I was doing, it would break their heart. And I felt so guilty about that, and I started having this self-loathing and hating myself because I didn't care about me, but I cared so much about them. And yet I couldn't stop myself from needing that attention that I wasn't getting in other aspects of my life. So I think that's that self-hatred and that idea of never having a future just goes, you know what? If this goes bad, oh well, I don't have to be here tomorrow to deal with the consequences. And I idolized suicide long before I ever attempted anything. At some point in high school, I knew I was going to take my own life. I didn't know when, I didn't know how. And then one day, I went to school, and I knew that it was going to be my last day of school. I went home, and I went to my siblings, and I tried to give my siblings as much love as I could that night. And the next day I woke up, and I did my makeup, and I did my hair, and I tried to savor some of the things that I thought I would miss in life. Once everyone was asleep, I got up and I wrote letters. I wrote a lot of letters to people that I honestly couldn't even tell you their names anymore. I wanted someone else to care about me because I couldn't care enough about myself. I got up, I found some prescription medicine in the cabinet, and I counted out 16 pills. And I took them like one after another, and then I went to bed. I went to sleep perfectly content that I was never going to wake up. I woke up a couple days later in the hospital. Pretty quickly after I woke up, it was only a couple hours, later, that they were wanting to transfer me to a behavioral health unit. I was so tired. I still felt so nauseous. I had a throbbing headache, and they kept trying to, ask you questions and intake information. And then once all of the intake was done, I had to say goodbye to my parents. And because I couldn't walk, they brought me a walker. And, I don't even think that it had clicked that, what was going on. It just kind of happened so fast. I woke up, I was transitioned here. I don't think it had set in. But walking down this hallway was the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. Anytime I ever go through anything hard, I think about that hallway, and I think about walking down it, and I remember that anger starting to set in, that, why am I still here? Why do I have to do this? I was so angry at myself in that moment because I was here because I was unsuccessful. And I think that was the first time that I realized that I was still going to have to live life. And that hallway was my first challenge of living. When I was 19, my family moved to Miami, Florida. I decided to go with them. I was living on my own. I decided that I was gonna go with them. I thought I needed a fresh start. I thought that I could, go somewhere new where no one knew me and nobody knew the things that I'd done or what had happened to me. And I came to Miami looking for that fresh start, but I feel like I carried so many of my demons with me. I met my husband. We had a kid together, and I felt like I was doing all the things that you were supposed to do, and I still felt so strange. This is what they wanted. You were supposed to dream about getting married and having a kid, and I was progressing in careers and looking for job opportunities to better myself. I was doing everything that you were supposed to do, everything that they wanted you to do, and yet I was still so scared of myself. Because holding my son, he was everything to me. I couldn't imagine a world where he had to grow up without a mom. I couldn't imagine leaving my husband. And I knew that if I didn't do something about it, that I wasn't going to be here to watch my son grow up, and I wasn't going to be able to grow old with my husband. I saw that there was an ad on Facebook for the Miami Marathon. My dad ran marathons when I was younger, and I watched him do his races, and I just thought he was incredible. I thought that those races were so cool. I thought it was so cool that he got a medal. There's no award for washing dishes or doing laundry, so I'm gonna go get a medal for doing something really hard. I remember at mile 23 crying to my husband saying, "This is not fun. This is the worst thing I have ever done. Why did I do this to myself?" There was a woman that was volunteering for the race that had this sponge of icy cold water, and she wrung it out on the back of my neck, and it was so cold and such a shock to my system that I stopped crying. I stood up, and I just remember running as fast as I could with my limping leg to the finish line. I have spent so many years hating myself That was the first time I had ever been proud of myself, that I set a goal and stuck with it, and I crossed the finish line, and I got a medal, and my mom was there, and my husband was there. I think one of the big things for healing is being able to look forward to something. Goals, dreams, desires. I like a challenge. What's that challenge for you? You know, what gets you out of bed? What motivates you? What makes you grow as a human? I think that really does heal the soul. That's what got me into Spartan racing. The environment, you know, people were so supportive and people cheering and chanting all at once. That energy was so incredible. When you fail a challenge, you don't give up. You don't quit. You take your penalty. You do the punishment, and then you keep going. You don't have to give up. You don't have to quit. You deal with the consequences, and you move on. It is going to be hard. Life is going to be hard, but you know what? You're pretty darn tough. And you can do hard things, and you can go through hard things. I guess that's what I wish I would have heard. You know, not that life gets better, not that if you just play the part, it gets easier, because it doesn't. You get stronger.